Okay, today is 27th October 2020. Let's repeat the same thing. First, we'll do some problems, then object-oriented JavaScript. We'll see again the closures, and then third will be React, where we will do more about add record in database. The database is Parse server in our case right now. I choose Parse server because my all live application will be on Parse server, and so I feel it is the best for now because it gives many things out of box. Okay, so that's because of this I have the topmost choice of Parse server. This Parse server was originally used by Facebook. Now also they might be using, I don't know internally, but initially they were using by Facebook. Whereas Firebase is owned by the Google, and Firebase you have to pay to go online. Okay, but with Parse server it's open source. You can host anywhere you want. So it is kind of free. Okay, you don't need to give any money to anyone. With Firebase, if you have too many queries, then they will charge more and more. But with the Parse server, you only need to pay for the space, hosting space. That's it. Okay, so that's the reason I go with Parse server. Both have same capability, and Parse server has more nicer way of searching the data. Searching the data is better than Firebase, and that is the second reason I prefer Parse server, because when we have data we want to search it in it. In Firebase we have too many limitations, whereas in Parse server we don't have those limitations. Okay, let's start with the problems. And rather than going to a problem, I'll just go with some small part of the problem, and then we'll see what exactly is the problem. So let's say if I have array, and the value of array is, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is my array. We already did the splice when we were deleting the records or editing the record. Let's do that same thing again. So for example, I use splice on this array. Now from where I have to start? Let's say I have to start with the 0. 0 means 0 index, that is this part. And let's say I want to take out 3 items. 3 items means 0, 1, and 2. How many? 3. So I will use 3 here, that is how many. So it starts with the 0 and take 3 items, so it will give me 1, 2, and 3. So this one is this. So I got 1, 2, and 3. Now if I check what is the value of array is, so I will see it this array is modified and it has the value from 4 to 10. So let's run this again. So I did splice again. Now I got 4, 5 and 6. 4, 5, 6, and if I check the array again, it has the 7, 8, 9, 10 value. Let's do this again. I got 7, 8, 9, and if I check the array, it has a value of 10. Let's do it again. Though I passed 3, but this array has only one item, so it gives me only one item. And if I check array, I get it empty now. So you will see what I did. I have a big array and I took the part of it, and then again I took part of it, then again I took part of it, then again I took part of it. Okay, something like this. Now if I do again this variable, if I create array again, and whenever I take this part of it, I will put it in one of the array. So I will create another array, array 2 equal to empty array. This array 2 will get this part of array, this part, this part, this part, and this part. So I have to do that like this. So when I get 1, 2, 3, I will put it in the array and push it inside this one. And 4, 5, 6 should be pushed inside this array like this. So when I take this first part, I'll say var, for example, I will put x equal to splice. So when I do this, it will take from the array 1, 2, 3 and put it into the x variable. And then I can take this x and push it into the array 2. So when I did this, and if I see what is the x is an array of 1, 2, 3. Now I will push this x into the array 2. Array 2 dot push x. So if I see array 2, I will get one array is the top array, and inside that 0th element we have another array of this one. Let's do this again. Let's do this procedure again. I will do splice array of splice of 0, 3, and now I get x equal to 4, 5, 3. Now I'll again push array 2 x. Now if I check array 2, it will have two array. In the first part I pushed 1, 2, 3, and in the second part I have pushed 4, 5, 6. So I'm just manipulating this data and putting it into the array 2. Let's do it again. I have to push here. Now I'll do array 2. I'll get 3 element 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's do one more time. And then I'll push it again. Then I'll check array 2. Now it has a 4 element 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we got array 2, but now it has the chunk of data from array 1. This is array 1. So since we saw that this part I am doing again and this part I am doing again, till how many times I am doing? Till we have something in this array. So if I want to write a function, I will write a function called as chunk, and in this chunk I will pass the original array, that is this one, and here also I pass the size, how many. Every time I am putting 3 here hard-coded variable, But if I want to change to some different ones, let's say from 3 to 2, I want to take 2 of them every time. So instead of 3, I will pass 2. So I'm putting size here. Now I'll loop through this array till I get all atoms done. So what I'll do, I'll use while loop and I'll say till array dot length is greater than 0. So we have to loop through array till I get all the item exhausted. Because whenever I use the splice, original data is modified, original array is modified. Therefore, I can check every time if length is greater than 0. After this third, array length will be equal to 0 and we can come out of the loop. Now every time I'll create a variable constant x equal to, I will do array dot splice and I'll start with the 0. Every time we have to start with the 0 because second time when I loop through it, the array will be reduced in size and we have to start with the 0. And how many items I have to take? I have to take the size. So if I do console.log of x, so let's do till this, only this part. And now if I pass the array chunk, initially I'll pass array as this whole array and size I'm saying 3. Now you will see first time I get this one, second time I'll get this one, third time I'll get this one, fourth, the same way what we did previously. If I pass 4, I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4 or 8 or 9, 10. Now what I'll do, instead of console.log, I will create another variable called as array2, which will be the empty array, and I'll do array2.push of x, and I'll return array2. Now when I do chunk of 4, I'll get this chunk of the array. So that was the problem actually, and the problem is like this. So we actually did the problem, and this is the problem solution, and the problem is defined as like this. Given array and size, so we have this array and size. Divide the array into many subarrays whereas each subarray is of length size. So we have to divide the array into subarrays, like this is a subarray, and each subarray is of length of size, whatever size I gave you. So this is the problem, and we did the solution in this one. So I'll put this problem in our JavaScript folder. I can name it as array chunk, and I'll create a new file, chunk1.js, and I'll put the problem. This is a problem, and this is a solution. And then if I pass this one, if I call this one, I get the output of this one. So this is the output. In the first 0 we get this, this and this. So this one was the chunk problem, and we use splice to manipulate the data. Okay, this is the one of the way. There are many ways to do the same thing. This is the one of the way. Okay, let's close this now. So we are done with the problem. Let's complete the closures now. We'll not complete the closure, but we'll do some part of the closure. We'll start from where we left yesterday. Yesterday we have seen that we have the global space, and let me open that image. 1 second. Let me open the image. What we did yesterday. So the closure is, we have the global space and we have the variable in the global space A, then we have the F, and inside F we have N. And when we somehow bring this N into the global space, N can access B. Generally, any atom in the global space cannot access B. But since N was created inside the F, N can access B. And when we bring this N to global space, this N is called the closure, because it can, though it is in global space, it can access the variable B. So that is what closure is, and we'll see one example of this in today. We'll see how the N breaks the chain and comes into the global space. So let's create the function. I create a function f. This function f is in the global space, and I have variable b inside it, and it has value something. Let's say it has value of 1, or it has value of hello world. It will be better we put 1. Okay, it has a value of 1. Now what I'll do, I will return the function. We have seen the return function previously. I will return the function. Okay, I return the function, and here I will return b. So what I'm doing, I'm creating a function, and then there is a inner. I'm returning the function, another function. It will return b. This statement or this function is created inside this function, so it has access of b. So I return the b from this one. Now, if I want to get the value of b directly, I cannot get the direct value of the b, because b is inside the function f, and globally I cannot access the b. So b is local. B is local, and therefore not accessible from global space. So in the global space, b is not defined. Okay, so if I use this function, b is not defined in the global space. Now what I did, I returned this function, but it has the value of the b. So now what I will do, so first point I have to notice the return value of function f is another function. This point I have to note it. Second point is, if I assign, so whenever I return this, if I assign this function to some another variable, for example, I say var n equal to f. So what I am doing, I am actually assigning this function to n. Though this function was created inside the f, but now when it is assigned to n, I can call this function. I can execute this function. And when I execute this n function, in reality, it is accessing the private variable of function f. Okay, so now let's say, okay, let's write on the point. Return the value of function f is another function. Think of, or we can say, let's consider this return function as n, which we saw in the diagram. So the return function, consider this return function is n. Now, what is the scope of this function? What is the scope of this return function? It can access scope of this return function. It can access its own private space. It can access f's private space because it was created inside the f. And since now it is in global space, it is called in global space. It's not even called, it is assigned. It is assigned in the global space. So now it is in the global space. Because when you call, you don't have access, but we are assigning it. That means we are actually creating something in the global space. Now it is in the global space, so it has access of global variables. Even if it is not, not because of this reason, it can access the global variable, global scope, but anything inside has access to all the parent scope. So global is the parent scope, and any function can access the global space. So I will not write the reason. It has access of global space. Any function has access to the global space. But the interesting thing to note is now we can access B's value in the global space because n is kind of exported to the global space. So we'll see when I do var n equal to f, when I do var n equal to f and I do n and execute the n, I will get the value of b, that is 1. So that means I'm using something in the global and I'm getting the value of b, which is private to function f. That is what closure is. This is the one of the example of closure. Let's run this here. So I created the function f. Now I create a value n equal to f. Now when I execute the n, I will get the value of 1, that is the b, and I will get the value of B, and this is called closure because though the B is inside the private space of the F, I can access the B in the global space, and that is what we mean by closure. Let's take another way to use the B. So this is one of the way I can access the B. Let's take another one. I created a global variable n, and I create another function f. I wrote var b equal to 2, for example, in this case, and here I'm redefining the n inside the f. So I am saying n equal to function return b. So whatever we did previously we returned it. Here we created a global variable, and we are redefining this variable inside and to the function. Since I redefine it, or we define something, this can be accessed in the global space also, because we don't have anything var here. If I put var here, that means n will become local and it will not work. And we create a global variable, and now I can access this b value. So now what will happen if I do f? When I run that, n will get this part, and when I do run n again, now I am getting the value of b. So though b is in the private space of f, I can access globally by calling this function n. Now let's take a little more into this. Now what we'll do is, let's see. Now again I create a function f, and I pass some argument, anything. Maybe I can say, you can name it anything, and just for namesake I'm putting argument arg. So I will say var n equal to a function. Here I create n function inside the f function, and I return the argument. Argument is passed to the f function, so it becomes the private of the f function. But I can return it since n is created inside the f function. Now what I'll do, I'll increase the value of this argument, and I'll return n. So what I'm doing, I'm returning the n. Now now what I'll do, I'll create a variable called as var x equal to function f, and I pass some value, for example 12. If you see, n is written with the argument. So when I pass f equal to 12, we can think that n will get the value of 12 because it is taking this argument. But when I run x, I'm getting the value of 13. That means, though we are retaining the variable which is passed, but if somehow its value is changed, then the return part will also get the new value, because this part only consider the scope and the variable in the scope, and when we call it, it will take the real value which is present in this variable and return that. So though when creation time I just pass argument, and at this time argument is 12 because we passed 12 here, and then we increase it. Since we increase it to plus plus, at this time we increase the argument to plus plus, and whenever I call this x, it will take the increased value, not the value which we pass at this time, 12. So that means it is really taking this private variable, and whenever we change this private variable, it will take the new value rather than passing the original value which we are returning it. So something to remember this thing. So I'll write down this function also here. One second. Okay, so I will write down another function. This is the one which we did. And if I call this one like this, and I call x, I will get 13 value. So it will take the new value of the argument when I call it. At the time of calling, whatever the value of argument will be there, it will return that one. It will not return 12, though we say argument. So people will think that since argument was past 12, whenever we call n, it will call the 12. But it's not the case. It will call the latest value of the argument, which is updated value of the argument. And we can also define the n like this way. We create a global variable and redefine this variable inside the function. Now n can access, though it is globally, it can access the private variable b. Okay, this is what. Okay, so this is what about the closure. We will do more closures tomorrow. It will take few more days to do the closure because you need to understand it. Don't try to memorize things. Try to understand what I'm trying to say. That is, moving the function to the global space is called closure. Okay. Now let's go with our React part. So we started with doing the add stuff, and sorry, 1 second. Node location. Okay, let me restart that one. So we started with the add part, and I'll be doing a lot of add projects. So we started project 2 is the add one, and we will be doing lot of add. Project 2, project 3, project 4, all are add. We'll see all the possible cases of the add. Yesterday, what we did, we created a new project, and this add, we give the table name. We pass the initial data. This initial data is assigned to form values, and if we have more fields, we can add more fields here. And we have error and loading for our different purpose. And then I created this form where I have one input box. It's simple input box. You could have used normal HTML input box also. The only thing to be remembered is value and handle change. These should be there. These two parts are must to make it work in the React. If you don't miss any of this, then it will not work. So whenever you change in the input box, we call this handle change, and this form value title will get updated. And when I click the submit, I can take this value and put it in the database. So I took the value when on the handle click submit. We took the value form value dot title, and I also use the user who is the logged in one, and I put it in the database. So this part clear for you? What I'm trying to do here? Okay, so whatever I explain in here, any doubt in that one? So no one is answering. That means you don't have any doubt, right? Okay, let's go. One second. Okay. So what we will do, we'll run this and see what's happening, and then we'll try to see what we want to do. So when I enter something, I'll open the console.log to see any errors. So these are the warning that these variables are created but not used. So we'll be using this. I'm just created it for now. So I put the title, and you'll see the title is test. And when I click the submit, it is submitted into the parse. Okay. So you will see I submitted this test, and you will see the ACL is both read and write for public. So that means though this record is created, but it can be deleted by any user. We only create the record, and who is the user who created? This is the user we created. We have this user, and we have the title, that is the test, which is created, and it has the ACL. ACL is the part where we can define who can access this field. If I remove both, then no one can access this field. No one can see, no one can delete it, no one can edit it. But I want this user who has created this record should be able to write, should be able to delete, and public should not be able to delete, but public can only be able to see. So we have to manage the ACL for this record. Let's do the ACL part for this record. So ACL is something very important in this parse server, and it has very good ACL support. So here what I am doing here, this is my logged in user. This is I create a empty post. So with these two lines I create the empty post, and with these two lines I set the variables which will go into the database, and with this line I insert into the DB. So this line will insert into the DB. This line will set, if we have more variables, I can write more set values. And this is the post. Now here, after this post, I can put anywhere. I can put this after this, but before save, I can put the ACL part. So here we'll put the ACL. ACL means something what we want to allow, whom we should allow this one. So if I write, I have to create a variable called as constant. You name it anything. I write ACL, and I will use new parse.acl. So this is the one I called it, and then I say ACL dot. Now here we have to write the set. We have to write the permission for the writing. Writing means who can edit it, who can delete it. So I can say set write access. That means who can access it. I will say this user who is logged in user, he can have write access. So I'll pass user, and second parameter will be true. So I have to pass true as a second parameter. This is always we have to pass true. If I pass false, then he will not have the access. So what I'm doing with this line, I'm saying that this user should have the right access. If we have more users, I can give user 1 right access, user 2 right access, as many as I want. So these all will have the right access. I can also say ACL dot set read access. In the read access also I can say user true. If I say set read access user true, that means only this user can access this post. No other user can access it. So let's try to do this and see how it works. Okay, before really seeing the example, though I created ACL, but I had not attached this ACL to this post. So I have to attach this ACL to the post. So I'll say post dot set ACL, and I have to name the ACL. So what I'm doing, this post has this ACL. Which ACL? This ACL. Now with these 2 lines of the code, I am only allowing the user who is logged in can write and can read. So any other user who is logged in will not able to see this post because he does not have the read access. I am giving only this user the read access. So if I do something hello world and I submit it, I'll refresh it. So you will see this title is hello world, and when I see the ACL, it's only giving the user who is logged in. Only he has the read permission and write permission. So that means this record can be accessed only by the user and no public has access it. No one can view it. It is kind of if you know the Facebook, it is kind of only me in the Facebook. If you create the post for only me, that is what it means. If I put read in the public, if I put read, that means the normal post which you do in the Facebook, that owner can delete it or edit it, but public can read it. So that is what we will do now. We don't want this to be only me. We wanted that only owner can edit it, but other people can view it. So to do that, I will delete this line of the code. We don't want read access to the user, or I will comment it. So we can use it if you want. I will use ACL.set public read access, and I will pass true inside it. So what it means that public can read it, but the owner can read, write, edit, delete, whatever he wants to do, he can do it. Let's do now another one. I'll pass this title and I'll submit it. I'll refresh it. Now this is the one I created now. It has the user has read access and write access, and public can have read access. So this way everyone can see this post, but they cannot delete it. And the owner can read it and owner can delete it also. So this is what I want for all our use case. In addition to this ACL, which we will do in future, not today, we have the role also. We have the concept of role. In the role, I can also tell that who are users in my role, and then I can assign this role to this ACL. Then only people who are in this role can read or write the ACL. So this is something, if you go in Facebook, we have the friends. If I want only my friends to see this post, I can create a new role of friends and I can put users, all my friend users in that role. and then I can assign this post to that role, and then all my friends can see it. Or I can, if you go in the Facebook, we have groups. I can create a role for that group, and I can assign this ACL to this role. Then whoever are in my group can see this post. So role is very important in this part one. If you are making social networking kind of website, so then you can say which people can see what. So this role comes out of box in the path server. You don't have to write manually everything. Just create the role, assign this post to that role, and that's it. Then all the users who are in that role will be able to see the post. This role part we'll do later because it is a little complex and I don't want to do now. How to set the role, how to add the user in the role, we will do later. For now, you have to just remember that you have to give write access to only the user who is logged in, and you have to give the read access to the public so that they can read it. That is what we have to do it. Now, when I call this handle submit, it will go to the server, come back. It may take little time to come back. Since it will take time, we have to show the loading part. So what I'll do, I'll say in the beginning, I'll say set loading equal to true. That means show the loading icon. And when I go in the end, when I'm done with the posting of the save, I will say set loading equal to false. I also want to say set loading equal to false in the error case. In the error case also, I want to stop the loading. I am showing the loading icon. Once I get error or no error, I should stop the loading. I will also set the error. In the beginning, I'll set the error to null. That is, I don't have any error. But when I get the error here, so every time you do the state update, always use await here because this is kind of await, and this is also await. Whenever we do some processing, it is await. This is also await. And here it is await, and here also I will set the error. Set error, and here I'll give the error dot message. So whatever error is there, it will come inside the error dot message. And remove it console dot log. And once we are done with this saving part, I stop the loading and I redirect it to the home page. So I can say props dot history dot push for redirecting. Where I want to redirect? I want to redirect to home page. So once you are done with the ad, just redirect user to home page after saving. But if there is error, I don't want to send to this the home page, and I want to stay in the same page. So this is what we are setting the variable. Now we have to use this variable. That is, if loading is true, I have to show the loading icon, and if error is there, I have to show the error to the user. So let's do that part now. So before the submit button, I'll just say if I have error, I will show this my alert which we built few days back, and I'll pass the message equal to error. Okay, so I'm passing this my alert. So my alert takes the message, this part message. So whenever I have error, I show the my alert with the message. Okay, let's change this to MSG. Okay, and then in the my alert also I'll change to props.message MSG. You can keep message also, but I just keep the short one for this purpose. And if I have loading equal to true, that means if I say loading, I will call the loading icon. Okay, so I call the loading icon. So when initially I set the loading equal to true, I will be able to see the loading icon. And when we are done saving, I say see the loading equal to false. Let's comment this one to see the loading effect. So here I will put something, and once I click submit, you will see the loading, and when it will come back from the server, the loading will stop. See, loading went very fast and it come back. If you see, the loading is on the same line of the button. I don't want that, so I can change the loading little bit to put it in its div tag so that it should be in the new line. I'll create a div tag for the loading and put the spinner inside the div tag. Now if I run this, see how fast it is coming. I see the fraction of second loading is there, but when internet connection is slow or when you are on the net, it will be little slow. You will be able to see it properly. Since I am in the local, it does very fast. So you see the loading icon. Okay, so now what happened? Let me explain one more thing. Now we are using async here, and whenever we do the update state, that is we are updating the state, it takes little time to update the state. It's not immediate, it is asynchronous call to the state. And whenever we have asynchronous call, it is better to put the await rather than putting directly this one. Okay, rather than putting this one, it is better to use the await whenever we do asynchronous call. In these two cases, it does not really matter. It will not matter much in this two case, but because it is a local state also, and it doesn't affect too much on my code. But if something it takes little longer, this may affect it. So for now, this even if I remove it, it's fine for now. But whenever I see there is something which takes time and it is asynchronous call, I try to put await here. Okay, so just try to put await whenever you see something kind of Ajax situation is there. Okay, so this is all about add part. Any question on add part? Right now this add part has only one field, that is the title, but we will be adding more in future, more fields. Now this ACL part is something we have to create a new ACL instance, the object from this new ACL, and then we have to give the write access and the read access. Who can write this? Write means delete and edit. Who can delete and edit it, and who can view it? Generally, if I give public view, everyone will get view access and everyone can see it. And if I give the write access to the user who is logged in, if I don't give this write access to the logged in user, initially you saw that it has default write and read access for public. And if I don't put this ACL part, then anyone will be able to delete my post. I don't want that. I want only I can delete that. That's the reason I give the write access to me who is logged in, and I give the read access to the public. I can also give read access to myself, but then only I will be able to view it. No one will be able to view it. So something this ACL is who can access this post. That is what it means. Okay, now this project 2 is done. This project 2 has add functionality. Now I'll do quickly the project 3 also. Project 3 will also the add, but I'll finish it quickly because I will take use of this add and I will do quickly. Okay, so this is project 2. So look at the 3. I will create another project. So I will copy all what is there in the project 2 inside the project 3. And inside the project 3, I will write down what I'm trying to achieve inside the project 3. So previously we saw this, we have text box and how to insert in the path server. So here we will use same input box which we did in project 1, and we will also add one of the more field, and that is called the rich text editor. For that you need to install ReactQuill, and I'll just quickly install the ReactQuill to show you. I'll go to the client folder and I'll say npm install -- save. So I'll install the ReactQuill. So once I install the ReactQuill, and here in the widget, if we go widget, we have only input.jx. I will add another one. And what should I name it? 1 second. Let me see the name which I can use. Okay, I will add new one called as Richtextarea.jsx. So I created the rich text area. Now this rich text area has too many configuration, and those configuration, it's not advisable you to write down those one. You can copy paste my code, and since you have to copy paste, I will put in the repository. I'll show you how much big is the configuration. I took it from their website, so I don't want you to write down each line because I also copy paste it from their website. And I will also create a file because rich text area has some CSS also. And I'll put the CSS here. This you can write down yourself. So this is something I put in the rich text one. And this rich text area.jsx is something has too many configuration which you can copy paste. So I'll show you what are the configuration is. I will just import. So we have to import the rich text ReactQuill. Import ReactQuill from ReactQuill. This you can write down, but configuration part you can copy paste. And then I'll say import ReactQuill dist quill.snow.css. This is the CSS provided by ReactQuill. And I'll also import my CSS which I just now added. So these are the top things imported. And then here inside this, I can create a label of strong, and then I can pass the title. which will come from the props.title, which will come from the previous page. Now comes the ReactQuery, ReactQuery configuration, which you have to just copy paste. I will paste it here, and I will also put in somewhere so that you can take it. So these are the configuration which I got from the ReactQuery. Though value, I can put it as props.value, and placeholder would be props.placeholder, and then handle description will be props.handle description. So this handle description will come from the parent add component, and these are the configuration which you can use it. I will put this somewhere. Maybe I can give you in the chat also, Telegram chat also, this part. Let me put in the chat. Okay, I have just put it in the Telegram chat. If you want to write down, I'll just scroll slowly so then you can write down also if you don't want to copy paste. And then you can write down also. Okay, so I created the rich text area, and I will now use this one, project 3. So project 3, 4, 5 are quick one because we already have the input box. We know the things. Only thing we need to add new field, which is for this particular one. So I will open the project layout, and here I'll name it as project 3. I'll go to the app.js. Instead of 2, I'll now call 3. And then I will open the add.jsx. Here I have input box. I will add more, the rich text editor, rich text area from okay, so I call rich text area from the widget. Table name, I'll name it as 2. Initial data, initially we were having title. Now I will add description also for our rich text editor. This one will remain same, this one will remain same, this one will remain same. This handle change will be used for the title, but for the description, since it is rich text editor and it is not called that means it is called separately, not the way we call the input box. The rich text editor does not use this one, name and target value. So we have to create another function for rich text editor, that is handle description. So I will here I will not get E, I will get some input, something. You can name it E, it's up to you. But E is kind of event in the HTML, so I'll just name it wall or something, or input, anything I want to. And I will call same way this one. Let's do this same way. Since E is not there, here, I don't need to call e.parses. I'll just call this one. And here I will say, instead of dynamic, I will hard code with description. We can do dynamic part also, but that's not the topic for today. Since it is one field only, and if we have many rich text editor in a page, then we can use the dynamic part. And here will be the wall, whatever value I am getting it. Okay, now I will call the rich text editor, rich text area. After input box, I will call rich text area, and here I will give the handle description will be my function, and in description, whatever I created here will come here, and what else will come? Placeholder will be enter description. Then I'll say title equal to description, and value will be form value dot description. Same thing as we do in the title. No brain work. Just we create the rich text area. Now when I test this page, when I call the rich text editor, it will show the rich text editor, and we have this function which that rich text editor wanted. So we all need all these 4 parameters for that one. This name is not needed for the rich text area because we have the only one. If you have multiple rich text area in one page, then we need the name, and we can handle that later if you want to apply multiple rich text area. But right now, I don't want to do the extra complexity in the page. And everything will be same, but we need to add one more set variable, that will be description. And that's it, and we are done with our project 3. Let's run it and see. So props is not defined. Let's see why props is not defined. So I'll go to my rich text area.js. Since I'm calling props, I need to put props here. Okay, so this is the props, and let's check now. Okay, so first I'll go to main page. Since I changed in the app.js to route to project 3, now I can see project 3. I'll click the add button, and I'm getting the rich text area. You'll see this rich text area is there. Though spacing is not there, we can fix the spacing anytime. It's not the purpose now. In the end, I will do that spacing also. Okay, so we got this one. And then let me go here. So you will see a few warnings are there. This warning is due to because this rich text area was written long back, and at that time the React was having the life cycle called a component will receive props, which they removed now. So you are seeing this warning. So maybe I hope this rich text area people may remove or modify their code to fix the latest version of the React. Since they have written long back, it is in the old React format, and hope they will fix this part sooner. But right now we are getting this warning, and it's okay to see this warning for now till they fix it, because this is their component and I use it. I don't want to fix it on my side. Let them fix their code. Okay, so they will fix it and we will not see the warning. Okay, let's forget about this warning now and see how it works. I put something, I click submit, and we'll see this here. I use the table 2, and you will see table 2 has title and description. Description is HTML, and we see this access control proper, and we have this title and description. Let's move the user to the home page after he adds the data. Okay, props is not here. We have to add the props here also. So I will put this detail now again, and I'll click submit. It's redirecting to the home page after it is done. Okay, Sasho is asking, I'm not understanding what is your question. Can you rephrase it? So this is all about the project 3. We are done with the title and input box. It is this rich text area. Okay, so this rich text area is very nice. You can insert the image. You can insert the YouTube video, YouTube link. You can insert this YouTube URL, and the YouTube will be, people can play the YouTube here also. So I like this rich text area. There are a lot of rich text area available. I just got this one. I like this one. You can use any one which you like. So that's all for today. If you have any question, you can ask.